What is up? Time for another weekly report. Huge week this week, as most of you probably know. On Tuesday, retail sales could have some upside if it surprises with strength. Okay, the market is worried about growth more than it is about rates. That said, this is a big Wednesday that the market has been looking forward to for a while now. So we're going to get the interest rate decision. Expectation right now is a pretty big bet for 50 basis points. Okay. So then we're also going to have some economic projections. And what the market's going to really want to see is that, hey, we think the economy is still pretty strong. So, and then we have the press conference, right? This will be a huge event. Okay. So keep that in mind. The rest of the week really is not as important as Wednesday. But if we look at the market price action, so far, it looks like we want to squeeze to all-time highs into next week. Very, very bullish, okay? Undeniably bullish. As most of you know, last week's report was bearish, very bearish. And on Friday, I talked about this on the live stream, but some of you might have missed it. I remember on the day when the market sold off, we closed some puts for some great returns. And then I was still short, though, with some pretty far dated put contracts and took a monster squeeze. And I remember at the lows, Abraham, who lots of you know from the Noobs YouTube channel, he's usually streaming with me all day as we talk about markets with our members. He goes, there's a 4% chance that this can rally out of the hole if we look at back testing data. And sure enough, we got an insane rally out of the hole on a 4% likelihood. Crazy. I still had an 83% win rate on my day trades, but my swings win rate got slaughtered because I had various put positions. So we're actually coming in this week more bullish. Still playing. Well, I managed to squeeze out of last week, snake my way out. And this week, I'm looking for a lot more consistency, a lot more simplification, and a lot better performance when it comes to my swings, because I think that's where I've been lacking. My day trades have been pretty consistent, but for me as a trader, like I'm having some slippage on the win rate with the swings. That's not okay. So, anyways. Just some personal monologuing there. So what I'm looking for this week, first of all, what does look like an interesting swing is Tesla. Remember, Tesla has their investor day actually coming up at the end of this month. And we have this big level here at 235 with some pretty good gap up potential, right? I mean, overall, it looks like we already want to fill in this gap right here, this gap right here. We also have some gap potential here. So this is a big open range. So technically you won over the 235 to set that up. But Tesla to me does look bullish if the market can hold up. Or this week I also put out a short video on KRNT. This is a stock that I've actually been talking about since January and have been a holder since January. And it hasn't been a fun hold. So what we actually saw was a cup and handle kind of play out for a squeeze the upside, and finally my long dated calls are in the money. Careful though with the options here, as I am still the sole holder of options on this stock for those leaps. So, or like 90% or something. So my exit liquidity has still not come to me. Little concerning at this point, but I think interest will really start to build in this stock, especially with the buyback the company announced. Go watch that short report. It's very short. It's like 30 seconds. So the one thing that you should be slightly cautious about is this ABC structure here. That's not bullish. All right. That looks corrective from the downside pattern. And we can see that it just chopped up from there. Now, clearly this is more bullish. Okay. So we have the corrective ABC pattern, but it looks like it's formed into a wave one, because on the retracement here, we actually got a really solid like wave 3 type of development from here. So now this looks like a motive wave formation forming. Looks like we should get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm looking at 29.17 as the upside potential for this from here. So the one thing is that the 1 hour does look like it's pulling back, so maybe we were going to get maybe a bit of a fourth wave pullback, but we are still bullish on the daily. So this is still looking good right now. Now, another stock that seems to be forming a cup and handle right now that should probably be on your watch list is Affirm. Over this 45.24, it looks like we've got some really great gap up potential to about 50. And of course, as always, all the trades and setups that I see are shared instantly to the Discord. Our coder actually made it so that anytime I set an alert in my trading view, it goes off in the Discord instantaneously. So when I see the alert on my end, all of our members also see the same alert. And same thing with all the trades I take. As soon as I take the trade, it's automatically posted in the Discord. We've had some trouble getting these new features coded out, and we're working on other things. A lot of you might be familiar with like Tradealytics or Unusual Whales. We're actually building all those same features into our Discord from scratch. So I've actually now got a coder on staff, and it's been a big investment to kind of get all these built. So we've been working overtime on getting these features built first, because we're not just a data service. We're going to have these features, but then I'm going to basically walking people through like how you use these tools, and they'll also be to see the trades I take. Like, here's all the info I see so that you can see it, so that you can have your own discernment, so that you can learn to be an independent trader, as should be your goal for your own longevity, for your own well-being, for your own account, right? And then also, you can have the ability to shadow me, shadow Abraham, who will also be automatically sharing all his trades as well soon. You can follow us, who are experienced traders. So it allows you to have the shadow aspect. It allows you to have all the data so that you can have your own independence and work out your own ideas and your own process. And I'm just so excited for the future of that, because even though it might seem like we're just becoming one of those applications, those are just coders, right? They're not traders. Okay, they know the number side, but they haven't studied the art form, right? So that's what makes this so exciting, is that we can really bridge the gap that these other services don't, and I can also just undercut them super hard on all the data and information as well. So I'm super excited for what's to come. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the index real quick. So we had this wedge formation showing up on IWM. I think over 218.16, we have a nice setup for our further gap up. It could be before, or if the event this week is going to be bullish with the FOMC, then this could go all-time highs. So this looks like a really great setup. The reason I have it set so far back is I'm looking at this gap up potential here on the 1 hour here. Back in July and August, we had these nice bounces on these ranges. You might even be able to potentially lower this just a little slightly and come in earlier, but I like coming in at the 218.16. I do also want to review like what I think about the SPIX, and so what I'm watching here is to see whether we get a confirmation of this is going to be a rally that continues into the end of the year, with maybe some turbulence into like the election, and then post-election we get the final rally, or if the market has a poor reaction to FOMC, then it sells off, right? And so the whole goal of doing a technical analysis, because a lot of people don't like it, but it's to have some clarity and have a plan, right? You always want to have a plan. I know there's like 12 different expectations that the macro experts have on the things you should be looking at. I want to simplify that. And I just want to look for the price action and just looks for the confirmations and not be caught off sides like I was earlier on this day. So I don't want another moment like this. That was probably the roughest moment of the entire year, as this is been so far my best year of performance so far, and we traded our way out of this just fine. And so I'm just not looking to repeat this. So I'm looking to see, okay, once we test this level, is it just going to be a pullback, or is it actually going to turn back into a bear market, and we're going to see a larger push to new lows for us? So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'll react to. Always be willing to pivot on a dime. Always keep an open mind and follow the price action. Price action is your king, right? You can have any opinion you want on the market, but if it starts to fight you, it can be irrational longer than you can be solvent. Okay. I always have strong convictions when I create these weekly reports, but I'm never married to any of them. All right. And if the market tells me I'm wrong, I'm going to take it. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to move. I'm going to stay nimble, as is my job. All right. So make sure you have that mindset. Make sure you're treating all your positions as bets, and you're thinking in bets. You're thinking of like, hey, break out to all-time highs is a great setup, 70% of the time. Okay, so look for where your stop is. Is your stop a really far gap down? Okay, then allocate the appropriate amount of money to the trade, right? So if the stop for the trade is $5 below, or if it's $15 below, obviously it's $15 below before you actually get stopped out of position. You put a smaller amount into that trade, right? If it's only $5 below, okay, you have a tighter stop, so you can actually put more into the trade because of the tighter stop. Or if you just have really solid fundamental analysis on it, then you allocate more into the trade. But you're always thinking in bets, because the 70% probability fails 30% of the time. Okay. And you don't think in the way of like, oh, that trade didn't work, it was a bad idea. No, you think in like, oh, the 30% probability happened. Okay. So you're thinking, if I take this trade 100 times, 70 times, it'll work. So then, my goal should be is to allocate the appropriate amount of money into the trade so that I can trade it 100 times, so I can let those probabilities play out in my favor. To think in bets is such a key factor for becoming a good trader. All right. And for those of you watching, I'm also going to be putting out it's as long as a movie right now, but I'm putting out a full coaching video for trading, down to the granular of the settings that I've changed in my Thinkorswim, all the settings I have for my trading view, the basics of Elliott wave analysis, how to look at dark pool data, what links I use, all of that in a crazy long video with a dozen PDF files that you can study. I don't know why that sounds like pedophile. PDF files that you can review. There are links to Google Docs and different learning materials that I've created. So keep an eye out for that announcement. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for all that stuff, because I've been working really hard on that while our coder's been working on improving the Discord. And I'm just super excited about the stuff we're working on, because we're working really hard to get all this stuff done to help you guys become independent traders. So make sure you follow, subscribe, and we'll all grow together. God bless.